All right. So, what I want to talk to you today, this is Amory Zanzal, your coming out coach. I want to talk about conditioning and authenticity. So, I'm going to share my screen again. And as I said, that there's four different reasons why it's so dang hard to come out. And I'm going to talk about each one of these separately. But one of the things that happens is that when we are born as little pure souls, we are born to our parents, and then we become conditioned. Everybody goes through this, and it's not like our parents go, "Oh, I'm going to condition this little soul so that it believes these things and wants these things." No, it's just the tradition of humanity, right? We are taught by our primary caregivers, whether they're mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or a foster parent, we are taught by those people. And so we are conditioned to believe certain things about the world. And it really depends on your gender, if you've been assigned at birth. It depends on what your parents believe. It depends on the religious traditions that you may be a part of. It depends on your laws around you. For example, in the 1940s, do you know a woman could be arrested for wearing pants? So, really, laws, and as we can see right now with the drag bans that are going on in some of the states in the United States, laws can really affect how we are conditioned. Also, school can condition us, education, and also our friends that we hang out with too. So you can tell when you are in your conditioned self, when you find yourself holding back about things that you believe in. You really worry about what others think. There's a lot of fear. Sometimes there's procrastinating, like you want to come out later in life, but you keep putting it on the back burner. Sometimes when we are in conditioned selves, we isolate. I find that for a lot of people, when they come out later in life, they tend to isolate because they feel so overwhelmed. And isolation is also a trauma response for those of us who grew up in traumatic homes. Um, we view ourselves through this lens of judgment and fear, and we really feel energetically heavy. And what's really interesting, it says using addiction to avoid feelings. A lot of times I find that once people go into recovery, that is when they can admit they're not as straight as they thought they were. And so there often is tension in the body, and sometimes there's constricted breathing, because I have noticed with my clients when they begin to go to a place where it is difficult, it is more about their conditioning than who they actually are. The breathing becomes restricted, and I see people go. So, when we are in our most authentic self, we often feel really good. We want to move forward. What we focus on about ourselves and what we love about ourselves. We take positive, consistent action to get to the next step. We begin to trust in a spiritual connection. Sometimes we have expansive thinking, not contractive thinking. Like when we're in our conditioned self and we're doing contractive thinking, that means that we are making ourselves smaller and smaller. But when we are an authentic self, we often make ourselves bigger. When we're authentically in our authentic self, we feel lighter. We feel the universe is on our side. We feel empowered, and we know how to take care of ourselves. And often our body is very relaxed and open, and those times of trouble breathing is few. So, what I want to say is that you can't always be 100% in your conditioned self or 100% in your authentic self, but you can go back and forth between them. I know everyone has experienced here times when they have felt amazing and times where they have felt not so amazing. And one of the good things that you can do is to sort of do a time study of when you feel you're most authentic and when you feel you're most conditioned. And why you do that is because then you may notice that around certain people, you feel very conditioned. You feel really authentic when you are out with a group of your new queer friends. Um, you feel very conditioned maybe when you are in your house of worship and you used to not feel that way. You're starting to feel crappy when you go there. So, doing a time study is a really good way for you to understand on when you are most affected by it. And doing it for several days in a row, or even if you're ambitious, doing it for a week can be really, really helpful. I've attached the PDF to this video, and you can use the time study with that. So, a lot to think about. When are you in your conditioned self, and when do you feel most authentic?